Hi Billy, how you doing this afternoon?
Hi. I'm well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming onto the show. First thing that I want to ask is you're here now, but where is your cat?
My cat is literally sleeping. One of them is on the couch over there, the other one is on the carpet.
Well, there you go. All right,
Yeah.
that's okay.
I would show
There
them, but then I have to show my entire living room, which is I'm not going to do that. Yeah, maybe
Thank you.
later they'll make an appearance.
There you go. I want to know what are you doing musically and creatively, and what gigs have you played?
So I think the one from May that you might have seen was
The last one
probably.
I saw was that you were going on tour in Japan.
Yeah, so that one I pinned it to the top because
Right,
I really part of it is because I really like the poster that my friend made for me.
right.
And so I pinned it there. But I did the tour in Japan in May, and
Mm.
then in July I released my debut single as a solo artist. So previously I was with my band Billie Blue and the Nowhere Men, and now I'm releasing music under just my name, so Billie Blue Blackstone.
Yeah.
And the tour was also kind of to kickstart that shift,
Yes.
that uh, I guess that rebrand in a way, and also to promote the single in Japan because it was inspired by my childhood growing up there.
Yes. Yeah,
Mhm.
go a little bit more into that because I read that was it the first 12 years of your life that you lived in Akira?
Akita, yeah.
Akita.
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 Yes.
So tell us about the background about the single.
Okay, so why? So first of all, yes, I was born in Akita, which is in the north of Japan, and my parents were had already been living there for like quite a few years when I when I came around, and yeah, my father was teaching there. My mom is a visual artist, like a painter and a
Right.
musician. This is one of my mom's paintings,
Oh, very cool. That's
and
great.
she's a musician as well. Yeah, you can kind of see it's quite a big
Wow,
piece.
that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, so they had already been there for a while, and
Mm.
we lived in the countryside, and so it's full of. I mean, I'm sure you know, like the Japanese countryside scenery. It really
Mm.
does look like a Studio Ghibli movie, but even better because it's
Yes.
reality, and that was my upbringing for the first 12 years of my life, and in my childhood home. We had a persimmon tree, and this tree, it was kind of a dying tree, but it grew out of the ground at an angle. So that was like the perfect tree for a kid to climb, you know?
Yes.
And being an only child, like when I learned how to entertain myself pretty quickly. Like if my friends weren't free or if their parents were like a little strict or something, I was fine because I would just be playing by myself.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, so Persimmon Tree. So whenever I write songs, I feel like I'm pulling from a few different feelings or a few different experiences. And,
Yes.
in my subconscious, I suppose there is a thread that kind of ties them together. And
Right.
sometimes it's not really apparent to me what that connection is until the song comes out, until the song is
Right.
like released from me. Then I'm
Yes.
like,
Yes.
oh, okay, like I see the pieces now. But so when so Persimmon Tree, basically that song, it's not entirely about childhood, but more about the nostalgia of
Yes.
looking back at that time in one's life. So for me, being fortunate enough to grow up in in somewhere as beautiful as Akita, like my childhood felt really, really magical. And that was right before people had like phones. And I mean, my friends played video games, but I didn't. So I was always just like I was always having fun, like with all these narratives in my head. And it was just like a really wonderful time. Like I went through some challenging difficult experiences as a kid, but I feel like those things didn't stand out as much to me, or maybe I didn't have to
Mm.
process them at that age because I was always able to be so present in the moment
Yes.
and to just like soak in the magic of everything around me. And like, I'm not exaggerating when I say that every new experience felt psychedelic almost
Yes.
as a
Yeah.
child. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So like Persimmon Tree kind of came from looking back on that era with so
Mm.
much nostalgia and being like, wow, like how can I feel that again as
Yes.
an adult? Because like you go through like this whole journey and you meet different people and you have different types of experiences and I feel like that something about you gets a bit like chipped away. You get a bit jaded, right? And it's very hard as you grow older to experience the world in the same way, even if you want to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's
So,
kind of what Persimmon Tree is about.
right.
Hmm.
And then playing it live, I saw that you said that you were surprised, or maybe not shocked, but more surprised about how the song had evolved live from when you first played
Mhm.
it to how you play it now. So,
Yeah.
what was the difference that you saw?
So there were a few things. One is I think like I feel like when you first write a song, you're also kind of getting to know the song in a
Yes.
way.
Yes.
Yeah, song's also getting to know you. So yeah, there's that. And of course I wrote it just like with the acoustic guitar.
Hmm.
And then because
Right-handed, right?
yes, right-handed. Yeah, and so even like the way that I would sing it, I suppose now there's like there's a comfort and a fluidity with the lyrics and with the melody, and it's kind of just like gone in its own little way. Whereas like,
Right.
of course, when you first start singing it, you're just kind of you're just beginning to feel the song, right?
Right.
So there's that, and then also. Because I prefer working with a band. I like a very full sound. I like
Yes.
layers and textures in the sound. So then we arranged it, my bandmates and I arranged it for stage, and it was nice. We came up with a pretty nice arrangement. Um, but we kind of arranged it for a show. So
Mm.
I feel like I kind of knew that like, okay, this isn't 100% maybe what I would want if it's recorded and released, but it's already like really nice. So
Yes.
we worked with that version for like I would say about a year or so when we were performing it and got into a really nice groove with that. And I'm happy that that version exists. And I got to, it's a bit heavier, I guess, than like the recorded one. It's more
Right.
rock-ish.
Yeah.
So I got to really like express the song in that kind of way, like really belt out the bridge and stuff. And then when it came to finally recording it in the studio, I was like, okay, now we get to play. Now we get to figure out how to get it to like what I had heard in my head. Because
Yes.
I mean, I guess like if you write songs as well, like you have an idea usually in your head of how you want it to sound, but you don't know what that actually looks like. You don't know what
Yes.
it's like, but you're like, there's a feeling that I have. I know, but I don't know how to get there. I don't know how to arrive there.
Yes.
So the recording process involved like arranging it and trying to arrive at this place.
Right.
And of course, my bandmates don't know what's in my head, so I have
That's
to try
right.
to
That's
explain.
that's what I was about to say. It's
Yeah.
difficult than what some people would think, especially if you
Mhm.
got four or five people all trying to put their piece into it as well, trying to get it all together. So obviously you're now happy with how it's all come about.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like the recorded version is really like what I was feeling when I wrote the song. Something and also the influences, the songs that I was kind of inspired by when I was writing it,
Yeah.
that I feel like that's a little bit more apparent too. And because I didn't really want it to be a rock-ish song. I didn't feel like
Mm.
that was what this song needed. And it's so funny like working with other people and
Yeah.
trying to tell them because I'm not I didn't study music, you know, everything that I know about music is just has just come from performing and from
Yeah.
writing. Yeah, and
From the
from
heart.
yeah, from the
Mm.
heart.
There you go.
And also growing up, going to my mom's shows and all, and that influence. And so my bandmates are a lot more educated than me.
Right. Okay.
So when I try to explain to them, I feel like I always use a lot of adjectives. I'm like, I want
Right.
it to be like floaty and textured and like this kind of groove and then they're like, okay, okay. And that's why it really helps to have references. So what I do now is I create like mood board playlists. So
Mm.
I'll be
Okay.
okay, I really like the space in this song between the instruments, or like I
Yeah.
like the textures that you can hear in this song. So I try to create like a mood board so that
Right.
they can also hear maybe where I'm coming from.
Right.
Yeah, the kind of references that I'm pulling from as well. And yeah, it's hearing it finally come together was just so fun and so exciting.
Yes, yes, absolutely. It's like your little baby. It's like, okay, here it is. I'm releasing it out to you. But
Yeah, really like that.
initially, how do you start writing? Is it is it a guitar? Is it the melodies? How do you start it? Is it specific?
It does kind of depend on the song, but generally, my voice is my main instrument. So
Right.
generally, I either have the lyrics first or the melody first.
Okay.
Or I might come up with like a melody and then I go through like lyrics that I've already written and then I start to try to fit that in. And then maybe I will write chords around that. Yeah,
Okay.
so try to kind of like find a key and then write the chords around that. So that's kind of what I do. I don't usually come up with a progression first. Maybe sometimes I'll be like sitting around and I'll be like, oh, I kind of like how these
Humming
chords
something?
come together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then yeah, so there's that too. But I feel like lyrics have always been very important to me.
Mm.
So I mean, I write as well. Like I
Mm.
write poems and I write short stories. And
Yes.
like I said, I also have done like interviews, nonfiction stuff.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy writing as my main medium of expression. So I
Mm.
feel like that's why like my songs are also very lyric heavy. Yeah, so I feel like the vocals and I mean the lyrics and the melody usually comes first, but sometimes it's the
Yeah.
other way around.
Yeah. What about writer's block? Have you ever had that, or how do you?
No, all the time. And that's something I've had to overcome as well because like I think I realized through therapy in my like mid 20s that oh, some of the things I deal with is actually anxiety. Wow, how fun. So
Right.
that definitely has affected my music as well because especially when I was younger, like in my early 20s, I started only like writing music in my early 20s. I guess
Wow.
I would kind of consider myself a late bloomer in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when I started writing music, I was just like, I would get into like hyper perfectionism kind of mode, like being really, really critical of my voice. No, I don't mean my singing voice, that too sometimes, but I mean my writer's voice.
Right.
And yeah, being critical of that and always kind of worrying that like whatever I create is not good enough. And then that would create writer's block.
Right. Right.
Yeah. But I think I'm in a place now, especially after like around the time where I wrote Persimmon Tree and I was writing other poems and other songs at the time. Actually, writing poetry was very liberating for me. Because once I started like writing poems without the pressure to like, okay, there has to be a verse and a chorus and a bridge, or it has to be cohesive, it has to rhyme or whatever.
But does
It
it? But does
right.
it,
It
Billy?
doesn't. It
That's
doesn't
right.
actually. It doesn't,
Yeah.
but like it was something that I had, I would put that pressure on myself when writing songs.
Right.
But writing poetry, I let go of that pressure, and then that in turn helped me to write songs in a much smoother way because I wouldn't get in the way of myself as much. So I have
Mm.
dealt with writer's block. It's just something
Mm.
that happens when you have like these traits of like anxiety and like perfectionism and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And for new listeners, going back to the live show, what are you playing in your set live?
So I'm playing usually the kind of shows that I play. I do indie shows like those multi-band indie shows sometimes, but I also do like showcases where it's just my band.
Right.
So in those sets, like you will hear my original music. And then you will also hear some covers that have inspired me as a songwriter. Yeah. And inspired me as a performer as well. So I always feel like it's kind of a journey because you're getting you're getting me and then you're also getting like the background of what made me me in a way.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
give us an example of what covers you might hear.
Okay, one of the songs that I really like to do is Woodstock by Joni Mitchell.
Oh,
So I love that one, and we have our own kind of arrangement. And I love one, the lyrics, the storytelling of that, and how she basically captured this iconic moment in history, and not just the chronicling of what happened, but also the feeling of being there. So I really love the way that story is told. And I love singing it as well. I feel like, so when I'm singing it, it really feels like floating to me. And I like feeling that way. So that's one
absolutely.
of the songs that we like to do. And another one, another cover that has become like a mainstay is Nature Boy, the jazz classic.
There you
But
go.
that one also we do it in like our own way, and it gets a little heavy in the middle, but that's also one of those magical songs that I just feel like it's transcendent.
Yes. And the one thing I like about that is that you're doing it your own way. You're not just replicating something that's been done
Mm.
before. So I really like that as well.
Yeah, it's fun when you get to do that. And I find that it's kind of a delicate balance sometimes because I still want the song to be recognizable
Mm.
as what it is. I don't want it to be like, oh wow, this is like so far and removed from the original because otherwise I should just write a new song.
Right.
So I think
Yeah.
it still sound recognizable, but be like a totally different interpretation. So I like to kind of strike that balance somehow. And yeah, with Nate Boy, I grew up with the King version. And so I really love how haunting the song is, but I also feel like there's so many different ways that you can take that and you can express that yeah, the message of the song, you know? Yeah, so that one I really
Absolutely.
love to do.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Let's go back to where you grew up. So you said before that you grew up in Japan. So
hmm
musically, what's your first recollection of listening to music? Was it your mum? Did she take you to shows, her shows, or what were you listening to at that stage?
I would say, yeah, I grew up in a very musical household because of my mom. My dad also was like a big appreciator of music. He had like a massive CD collection.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah, his vinyl collection I've never got to lay eyes on because he left it in the US at
Oh,
my grandma's basement. But so I've never got to peruse through that. But he had a massive CD collection. But yes, my my earliest experience with music, I guess, was going to my mom's shows mostly.
Right.
And any concerts that my parents would attend, they would take me to.
Oh yeah? Because
Yeah.
normally like big international bands are regularly going to Japan. So did you see some
Mhm.
big ones or was it just like
But
indie?
we lived in Akita. So
Mm,
again, Akita is really small. However,
right.
apparently there were some artists who did come down who and but the thing is I don't remember those shows. I was there, but I don't remember.
Okay.
I I know Dylan came down twice and my parents went both times, but I don't know if I was old enough to be present. Because if I was born, I
Right.
was there, but I can't
Yes.
remember if I was already born or not. And then there were a few like jazz artists like Wynton Marsalis and stuff who came down. And my mom does a lot of, so her originals are very like folk rock singer-songwriter kind of stuff, but she also has a huge jazz and blues influence.
Oh, there you go.
So she has performed at a lot of jazz clubs, both in Japan and in Malaysia. So
Right.
um, so jazz was also always there. Um, Going to shows, I wasn't really exposed to like indie shows at that
Okay.
age. Again, because we lived in the countryside. But there was a lot of, I don't know, I feel like my main experience was really at home
Right.
because my parents were not listening. Like I wasn't listening to what my friends were listening to.
Yeah.
You know, my friends were listening to J-pop and stuff, which I kind of with via osmosis. I
Of
got some
course.
like J-pop influence,
Of
but
course. How could you not?
but yeah, of course. And I still will sing some J-pop songs at karaoke, given the chance. I will whip out like the few J-pop songs I know and I will start singing them at karaoke.
And Billy, we've got some footage of that karaoke song that you sung now. No, I'm joking. No.
Someone has footage for sure.
Yeah.
Someone does. But yeah, so I feel like it was mostly my parents. Yeah, they
Right.
were listening to all kinds of music from like not just Western music. My dad was big into like song lines, like he had a song lines subscription.
Oh, there you
And
go.
yeah, so like we were always listening to, I hate the term world music because I feel like it's like, okay, the West and the rest of the world. So I kind of hate that term. But for lack of another term right now, I guess like we were listening to a lot of that as well, like music
Yeah.
from everywhere.
Any Japanese influence, like Japanese music influence in your current or former music yourself?
You know what I think, what I've noticed, and what I
Mm.
think, it's probably not immediately obvious, but my lyric writing, I use a lot of imagery and a lot of nature imagery. So my writing, I like writing that's a I mean you have to kind of strike a balance with between like you don't want to be too metaphor heavy
Mm.
because you still want to be able to be honest and stuff.
Yes.
But my writing, I do like writing that's a bit more figurative because I like that there are layers of meaning to it. Like when you're using a well-crafted metaphor or if you're being a bit allegorical, it's not just one meaning. There's like several layers. So that's what I like. But a
Yes.
lot of Japanese music, even the pop music, it uses a lot of nature imagery. And I realize I do that too.
There you go. That's cool.
Yeah, I do that too.
So then you said you moved to Malaysia.
Actually, before Malaysia, I was in Singapore for 5 years. That
Right.
was high school.
So
And
what was that period of your life like?
Singapore
Big
was
change.
kind of crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a big change because I was 12. So, you're already being like ravaged by pure puberty,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
which already sucks. And then I was moving to a new place with a different culture and new and different climate. And the biggest thing that I felt was like the difference in school,
Right.
like the culture of school was so different. Like I came from a school of like 50 something students, of the entire population. From first grade to sixth grade, there was only 50 plus students.
Yeah, right.
And then I'm thrown into a school with over 1,000 students in the entire school.
Yeah, right. Wow.
And also, like when you go to Singapore, it's like they throw you into the deep end. They're like, okay, here are your books. This is the timetable. Okay, you can sit there. That's it.
Wow.
And I came in the middle of the school year, and everyone's like, who is this person? Like, what is
Yeah.
she doing here? Um, and also I was still culturally very Japanese. Like
Yeah.
I'm quite I would say I'm quite outgoing and sociable and friendly, but I also have a bit of I think I can come across as a little reserved at the beginning. And I tend to be like hyper aware of like my surroundings and like,
Yes.
like, okay, if like these people are talking, I'm not going to butt in. Like there's a little bit of that which I've retained from my Japanese upbringing. And so in Singapore, it was hard because people could feel that I'm very different in that
Mm.
way. And they're like, "What's wrong with you? Why are you?"
Yes.
Yeah, and kids are also brutal at that age. Yeah, so it took a couple years for me to make friends. And when I finally did, actually, I'm still friends with my Singapore friends. Like they're, I think, my friends for life now. So
Yeah.
eventually I found my people, but it took a couple years for that to
I'm sh
happen.
I'm sure it would have.
Yeah.
And did
Yeah.
do you get to play in Singapore?
No, oh my God. In my teens, I feel like my confidence took a back seat because, like I said, puberty, new place,
Oh.
it was just too much. So I wasn't even singing.
Oh
I
no
did a
no, I
couple
meant like sorry, I meant like have you
10.
been on tour to Singapore like
Oh, you
recently?
mean now? Okay.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say that I was basically not really exposed to the music scene there at all, but
Right.
now as an adult, I haven't toured Singapore, but
Okay.
right before Japan, I got to play at a show. Um, because my partner was also about to tour Japan, and my friend's band as well. So they toured Tokyo, so they were doing like a send-off show. So I performed for that.
Right.
And that was my first time playing in Singapore, which was really nice.
Oh,
And
there you
I
go.
would love to perform there. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then Kuala Lumpur. So you've gone from there, was it 5 years in Singapore, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you've got friends now, and then you're gonna move again.
Yeah,
So
which sucked, but it was okay. I think it was kind of necessary.
yes.
Um, yeah. So I moved back to KL after my parents divorced, and coming to KL is what allowed me to really become a musician.
Right.
I never really, because I became quite shy in my teens, I didn't really see myself as becoming a performer, but I feel like it was always meant to be. Because when I was a kid, I was such a little ham. I lo
Yeah.
I lo I loved performing. I loved being I mean, I'm a Leo. I love the spotlight and stuff.
Come
And I
on.
feel like I just went through like a weird period. But
Yeah.
but yeah, coming to Malaysia, I got to actually start going to indie shows and start going to jam sessions. And
Right.
my mom had an existing like kind of network of her own here, so she was performing a lot here, and I got to be exposed to like the she was performing a lot in like the blues scene, so I
Okay.
got to like be exposed to that and see how they jam and stuff
Yes.
and how collaborative it could be. And then I started going to indie shows. So
There you
that's when
go.
I met all these musicians here. And yeah, it's been, I think, about 10 years
Okay.
that I've been performing now. Yeah.
And then what changes have you seen in the Kuala Lumpur music scene?
I think whenever you're in a small scene, like the struggle is always a lack of like maybe resources
Right.
and like a
Venues?
scarcity of like opportunities sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, so I feel like it goes up and down. Like there are times when the scene is like on it, like going moving up, and then there are times
Yeah.
when it takes a hit. Of course, COVID was a big hit. I think I see that right now the indie scene is kind of popping off, as the kids would say. Yeah, the indie scene is like really kind of active right now.
Yep.
In
That's
both,
great.
yeah, in every language, and it's really nice, but it's a whole different it's quite different from when I started in a way, because now social media is such a integral part of it, right? Like
Yes.
having an online presence is just as important as how you are offline. Sometimes even more important. You have to think about things not just in terms of the sound, but also the visuals, like the vibe that you're curating and that you're
Absolutely.
emanating online. So it is
Yeah.
quite different now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My friend told me that not only is the city of Kuala Lumpur quite good to play in, but also Penang as well.
Mhm.
Um, and you've done a few shows there, I do believe. So
I've
what
done
what's
shows in, yeah, sorry.
so I was just gonna say, what was Penang? What's Penang like?
It's okay. I'll be honest that it's been a few years since I've been to Penang, but
Okay.
I always thought Penang was really cool. It was like quite laid back, and I found the people to be very welcoming.
Hmm.
And I think that they appreciated bands coming in from outside. So that already kind of gives them like the audience, a natural like curiosity where they're like, I want to see what these people are bringing, because like there's an appreciation there that this is not something you get often. And then at the same time,
Ah.
the scene in Penang, like Penang has so many amazing musicians. A lot of them have left Penang and come to KL or gone overseas even to perform
Right.
or to continue their music careers.
Yeah.
But the people in Penang are so talented. So even more so, it's really nice when they appreciate what you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And welcome you into their scene.
And there's a couple of cities here in China, and you go down the street, and they're all Malaysian uh, musicians playing in the
Really?
bar, playing in the bar.
Really?
Yeah, it's so cool.
Wow.
It's so cool to see. Um,
That's so cool.
Malaysian and Filipino, I would say, are the two.
Huh?
Uh, yeah, there's a couple of. There's one street in particular in a place called Suzhou. It's near Shanghai, and they have just one road of just bars, and it's
Hmm.
just one cover band after the next all down this road. So I'm assuming that they make more money and they get an opportunity to play every night. So I guess they're living the dream, right? So have,
Yeah, that's so nice.
have you
I
ever
would
played
love.
in China?
No, I've never been to China, but we did like in 2021 with my former band, we did like a live streamed performance kind of thing. And there was a whole
Oh,
set and a whole like crew. It was really cool, and that was apparently broadcasted to China, but it was hard for us to watch it because we didn't have access to the site or the servers that it was
oh yes.
yeah.
Okay.
But that's cool.
I want to talk about how you formed Billy Blue and the Nowhere Men. Tell us
Hmm.
about how you formed that, um,
Hmm.
and how it become pretty successful in Malaysia, right? Would you say?
I guess so. I guess it depends how you measure success.
Success.
Yeah, I might be the wrong person to ask because
Okay.
I'm sometimes like a bit like it's hard to see your own achievements and not feel like okay, like yeah, it's all right. Like it's good. I achieved a lot, but like it's all right. It's chill. But then sometimes then when you hear another person, an outsider's perspective, they're like, "Wow, you guys did this and you guys did that." And then you're like, "Oh, yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
did. We did. I guess like it is, yeah, it was pretty successful. It was great. It was great in a lot of ways, I would say. So going back to how that started, of course, I owe a lot to that whole experience being in BBTNM because that was basically That was my first venture into music. And it was such an adventure as well because like, man, we did so much. We did our album. That's how I learned how to perform, write music, and then, we met so many interesting people along the way. I feel like I became an adult through performing. I mean, it's debatable whether I'm actually an adult sometimes. I don't know if you feel that way, but
Yeah.
especially this this era. So I'm like a zillennial. So cut off point between millennial and Gen Z, and I feel like my idea of what it meant to be like a 30-year-old and versus what it feels like actually is so different.
Yes.
So I'm just so yeah, so I don't know. Adult, okay. I'm an adult, but when I was in BBTNM, I feel like that's how I kind of learned how to like be a human being in a
Yes.
way. So I owe a lot to that. But anyway, so how it started was basically me and my former guitarist. We met when I was 17 and he was 18, and then we started dating. And we immediately wanted to perform together because I was a singer and he was a guitarist, but neither of us had like experience performing. But
Right.
we just knew that we like to do this thing. And like together we kind of um, found like our flow with like writing songs and like covering music and like, yeah, just like trying to do stuff, do music together, going out to shows. Like it was because we were so young, right? So we kind of got to experience that together. And so it was almost like a natural course, I guess, for us to form a band.
Yes.
There were a few member changes before we started working with Ruben, who was our drummer, and David, who is our bassist. And it was definitely an adventure. So we started out mostly like in the bar scene, and we were playing covers, but we were always insistent that like we don't want to play top 40. We only want to play the covers that we like. So we were going to all these bars that usually have like top 40 bands, and we were playing like Led Zeppelin and like Neil Young and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young and yeah, and Beatles and stuff. So we were doing that, and I feel like a lot of people knock cover bands. A lot of people knock like playing covers at all. And I understand, especially like when you're in a small indie scene, like you want to champion the original music. So then you feel like playing covers is like it kind of goes against that. But I always felt that like for me at least, we learned so much, we improved so much as musicians by learning covers. And I think because we were learning the songs that we wanted to play, like the songs that inspired us, that helped us to grow into the musicians that like we want to be. Like I maybe it would have been different if I were doing like Adele and like I don't know Whitney Houston. I can't sing Whitney Houston, but like if I were doing the really pop stuff and
Yeah.
then stuff that I like is like folk rock and like psych rock and stuff, maybe that would have been too different because my voice would have developed in that way. But
Right.
because I was covering the kind of music that I love, I feel like my skills and my ability to understand also songwriting developed kind of in the way that benefits the music that I write now, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
all of us became better musicians because
Yes.
of doing those songs. Like all of us. I can say that for sure. We all like improved so much from learning the songs that we love. So, yeah. So we were doing that up until 2020. Part of it was the pandemic, part of it was like me and my former guitarist, we broke up and then we tried to still perform together, but
Rekindle.
then yeah, we tried
Mm.
to continue a working relationship, but it was really hard, you know? I think once you've been together for like 7 years and
That's
your
tough.
formative like adulthood years, it is tricky to then kind of try to maintain a relationship, but it's completely different.
Yes.
Yeah, it brings up a lot of complicated feelings and dynamics. So then we stopped working together completely. Yeah.
What do they say? Don't mix business and relationships in a band, right?
Yeah, but see, like Fleetwood Mac, that was their whole
There you go.
thing.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And they
I
made
know that
great music from that.
there is some exceptions, but I would say the majority haven't last. But anyway,
But were they happy, Fleetwood Mac? I'm not sure if they were actually happy.
yes, that's maybe
Yeah.
not. You said that you released an album with that band. What was
hmm
that? Is that your first recording experience? Tell
It
us what
was.
that was like going into the studio, like having like a click track and the pressure of not having the band with you and just being solo and just okay.
So our album Find Gold, it was called Find Gold, and that was a wild experience. And you really have to do it once before you have any clue of what it feels like to be in the studio. And actually, we were a bit rebellious and we didn't want to use the click track. We were like, we want to record a live album. Yes, we want to record.
Billy, I absolutely hate the click track. I refuse to use it, and I'll only do it if I am forced to do it, even as a
Well, for
drummer. Yeah.
yeah, for us, like because our sound was a bit more like vintage rock and roll at the time.
Right,
So
right.
it just we felt like it didn't make sense with our sound to like record separately. The only thing that we recorded separately was the vocals because we were not able to like the places that we were recording at, they couldn't like we couldn't record together. It would
Block the
bleed through
sound.
basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I did like a guide, but it was not recorded. And then the band played live together. And then after
Got
that,
it.
I recorded over the song.
Yeah.
And for me personally, the trickiest part was bringing the same kind of live energy because that's what we wanted to capture.
Yes.
That's why we wanted to record live was because we wanted that energy. And it was hard. I found it quite difficult to emulate the same kind of energy in a studio. So I
Exactly.
tried all kinds of things. Like I tried having shots of vodka. I'm not a vodka drinker, but the engineer at the time, he had vodka and he was like, you know what? Here, have some vodka. So I tried all kinds of things to try to get into that headspace.
Yes.
And it was hard. It was hard.
Mm.
I guess it's debatable whether ever arrived at that point or not. I think there's some things that you just can't fully replicate, you know.
Yes.
There's some
Yeah.
that it's just in that moment and it's a whole different feeling being on stage and feeding off everyone's energy, the
Exactly.
audience, bandmates. So yeah, but yeah, it was definitely I thought it was really fun
Yeah.
as stressful as it was. And then also you have ideas of what you want to do in the studio. Like we had a song, Emperor, where we had considered bringing in some like a traditional Persian drum called the
Right.
da. And because Sohail, my former bandmate, he's Persian. And so we were like, oh, maybe we should try that. And then when we did, it didn't quite fit. So we ended up scrapping that idea, but I thought it was a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
So we
yeah.
ended up scrapping it. So there were some things that like, we could only we had to try in the studio and then nix it completely or, are other things that, you try and then it suddenly works.
Yes.
So yeah, that was quite interesting and fun. Also, it was my first time having like a big girl job and having a paycheck and then I put all the
Ah,
money into recording.
there you go. Yeah. You speak about that and you're saying that you wanted to have that live feel. Is there
hmm
a possibility or have you thought about doing like a live album or like a live versions of your
I would
song?
I would actually love to do that, but I think
Mm.
now if I were to approach that, I wouldn't maybe do it. I don't know if this is like feasible, but I wouldn't do it like in the studio. I would do it in like a hall or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I would do that for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. There you go.
Yeah. I would love to release like a acoustic, totally acoustic version of Persimmon Tree, like recorded nicely in like some kind of hall setting with a video maybe. And I think that would be really nice because uh I feel like sometimes it's nice to hear like the most intimate version of a
Yes.
song, right? Yeah. Yeah, I did do that video with Chahaya Mag a couple weeks ago, which is on my profile now. So that one is Persimmon Tree, but I want to do one like that's actually like recorded for release, I guess, so like people
Yes.
can into it on
Are you a
on
good
whatever.
actor?
No, no, I don't think so. No, I'm not.
It's not
I'm not a
you?
actor. I'm not a good actor. Yeah, it's very hard for me to not show exactly what I'm feeling. And if
Yeah.
I'm asked to act, then I'll end up feeling very unnatural, which is
Yes.
why sometimes I think I come across as quite camera shy because sometimes if the camera's pointing at me and I suddenly feel like I have to behave in a certain way, then I'm like, oh, haha, I don't know what to do. So I can be a bit like that sometimes. Yeah, I'm not a good actor.
Getting back to your first band, I read that you did a show in India, and you also were in Rolling Stones India. Is this
hmm
correct?
Yes,
Tell
yes. Well,
tell us
we
about
did.
this experience.
Thank you. We did a little tour in India, which was really fun, really great. So that opportunity came because we were invited to perform at Sarang World Music Festival, which was in
Come on.
Chennai. And that was, wow, that was super cool. So because we were invited to play at this festival,
Hmm.
we were like hungry to do it. And then we were like, you know what? If we're going to go all the way to India, we can't just play one show. We have to play a few shows.
Yeah.
So then I started like researching any kind of venue that I could find and just writing to them, reaching out to them, sending them our album, any live videos that we had. And yeah, so we managed to get, I think we did two shows in Bangalore. So we did a So Far Sounds. Are you familiar with So Far Sounds?
Uh, no.
I don't know if they're active anymore, but at that time it was pretty cool. So Far
Hmm.
Sounds was like a kind of like this global, I don't know what you call it, like this thing. It was happening in cities all around the world, and
Okay.
I think it was run on a volunteer basis, but the whole premise was like having private or secret shows in alternative spaces.
Yeah,
And
right.
so you could sign up to be a performer or to be an audience member. So if you are the audience, you sign up to go on a specific date, and only like the day before they will tell you the address. So like
Oh,
email
wow.
the address and with the lineup. So you wouldn't know who's on the bill and you wouldn't know like where the location is until later. But you sign up for a specific city. So let's say if it's KL, then you
Yeah.
would know that it's going to be in the KL radius. It's not going to be somewhere too far out. And yeah, and then you would go. So
That's
as an
such a
artist,
cool idea.
right? It's so cool.
Yeah.
And I think it was really active in like Europe and the US and
Yeah.
I think Australia. So then I looked up So
Mm.
Far Sounds in India and they had shows all around India. So that was really a really cool experience. I'm so glad we signed up for that. So we did two So Far Sounds. We did one in Bangalore and one in Chennai. And that was, yeah, that was amazing. The first one in Bangalore was actually at like a artisanal furniture shop. Yeah, and
It's
it
pretty
was
random.
yeah, but it was a beautiful, beautiful shop. And everything it was so cozy. We had to do like an acoustic strip down set. Everyone sat
Okay.
on the floor, like on
Yeah.
rugs and cushions, and it was a really good turnout. Well, and we got to meet. of course, other like artists in the local scene,
Yeah,
which
right.
was that was the best part. And one of the musicians who we met there, he was actually friends with the girl that we were staying with. So the girl that we stayed with, she went to school with our bassist, David.
Yes.
So they kind of knew each other. So we were staying at her house, and she happened to know this guy who was on the lineup. So after that, for the rest of our tour, the two of them like went along with us. So we had like a whole crew that
There
we
you
like,
go.
yeah, it was so fun. So we went to Goa together.
Yeah,
And
right.
that was really fun. So Goa, we did a show, and then in Chennai, we did the festival, and then we did another So Far Sounds as
Yeah.
well.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was
That's
really fun.
so much fun. And
Yeah,
how are the Indian fans? How are they reacting to your performances?
the response was really good. My
Yeah.
only regret is that at the time, I mean, mostly it's me, but actually it was kind of all of us. We were not very social media savvy at the time.
Right.
So that was like my main regret because I feel like if we had been more like I don't think our music was even fully on Spotify, even
Oh
though
yeah, right.
like or on any I think only one song was on streaming, and then the rest, even though we had released the album, the rest of them were not on streaming platforms. So I feel like that was short-sighted of us. But the thing is none of us are naturally, well, actually, I can't speak for all of them, but we're not really social media types. I'm only now, like, I'm still not very social media savvy compared to a lot of people, but what I'm posting now is so much more than I ever did in the past.
Yeah.
And I always say, like, if I were not an artist, if I were not trying to be an artist and trying to like build some kind of connection with an audience, I think I would just delete social media entirely. I think I would be much happier just not having social media.
Yeah. You know what? I had this conversation yesterday about what would
Hmm.
happen if there was no mobile phones or internet.
Hmm.
What would the world be like?
I feel like maybe we've, in a way, forgotten how to function without it because now so much of our day-to-day interactions depends on having a phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably by design, but yeah, like it's we can't really live without it anymore, even if we
How
wanted
long
to. Hmm?
how long could you last without your phone? How many days do you think?
I'm okay without my phone. Like I think I'll be fine without social media and stuff because I don't really like it that much.
Hmm.
But I think what I would struggle with would be like transportation
Oh
or like
yes, yes.
yeah, like transportation or I think trying to let's say I don't know, like order stuff online. Like nowadays I do rely on my phone for that kind of stuff. I pay with my phone as well. So,
Yes.
it would be tough. But I think
Yeah.
I could get used to it. But I think it would just be hard. If everyone stopped using it, I think for a while we would be completely unaware. We'd be like paralyzed. We wouldn't know what to do.
And then but then the whole music scene would go back to the whole go and see a live band, don't go just scroll it on social media,
Yeah.
go out, support local music.
I
Yeah.
think now like it would be hard to like to know what's happening when, like
Yes.
because even for me, like when I want to look up a show that I want to go to, I go to Instagram. I go to like either the venue's Instagram or the band's Instagram to try to find out when they're playing.
Mm.
So it'd be really, really hard to not have that. Yeah,
Yes.
that easy access. But I kind of wish I would love to just live in a time where we're looking at posters on the walls of, you know, grimy underground venues and we're recording those dates on like in a little pocketbook so we can remember and we're running to buy CDs and poring over the little booklet so we can read the lyrics. I
Yes.
yeah.
CDs are almost non-existent now because I don't even have one here. I don't have a CD player here in Shanghai, so I've ever got to get vinyl or I've got to download it. So yeah.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. When we re released Find Gold, we actually we printed CDs.
Mm.
Yeah, that's part of why our music wasn't all online because we wanted to go the old school way. We were all like, yeah, we're a fully vintage band, man. Like we're doing it the old school way.
Send
Yeah,
me
so
one.
you can frame it since you don't have a CD player.
There you go. Are there any superstitions or any sort of rituals that you have to go through before you play a show?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah. I just thought of that actually.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. That's the kind of question I would like to ask people because I'm very into spooky stuff.
Mm.
Yeah. However, for me, I don't have specific superstitions. I wouldn't say I'm very superstitious, although I love spooky things, but I do so I always get pretty anxious before a show. So I have to, if I can, I like to have a glass of wine
Okay.
because that kind of neutralizes the adrenaline. Like it just makes it makes me feel more settled, but I also won't feel the effects of the alcohol. It
Yeah.
cancels each other out. So I feel very balanced if I can have a glass of wine. And I try to do vocal warm-ups. I don't always remember to do it, but I try to do it for before every like show, while I'm getting ready usually. So while I'm getting ready to leave the house, I'll do little vocal warm-ups so that my voice feels strong.
There you go.
Yeah, so there's that. And I also I spend time picking out my outfit and putting that together. And for me, that feels quite meditative because it's like apart from just wanting to look nice, I think the whole process of like putting the outfit together,
It's
it's
a
just like
performance.
yeah, and it also it also gives me something to focus on apart
Right.
from, feeling nervous about the show.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
still get nervous after all these years performing,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's a,
I like
it's so interesting you say that when I was in charge of the band or when I was running the show and playing guitar, I would get nervous maybe 3 or 4 hours before the show. But once I saw the rest of the guys, it's okay.
yeah, yeah, it's the same for me as the front woman.
Yes.
Yeah, because I can be a bit like I can be a bit forgetful about things. So then I put pressure on myself. I'm like, I can't forget to do this and do that and do that because if I do, then I'll be really upset with myself, you know? And then there's also the pressure to post a lot of content. And then I also stress like,
Yes.
is there going to be a good turnout? And then, yeah, and then I also worry because some venues, like the ticket prices are quite high, and I feel like my demographic of listeners are not always like in that spending bracket.
Yes.
Valid. I'm also not always in that spending bracket. Sometimes I want to go support my friends, and it's like I have to calculate, like, okay, already spent this much on like going to shows, so maybe I can't go to this one.
Yeah.
It's getting more and more expensive to go to shows these days.
Yeah.
So I worry about stuff like that. And then anytime we're performing, like doing something new, doing a new song, then I'll get nervous as well. Because I just want everything to go well. Yeah.
But you spent some money. We talked about it earlier that you spent some money for Green Day in February.
Yeah, I know. I know. But
Priorities.
that one is like I purchase it like how long so long in advance, you
Right,
know?
right, right. Got it, got it, got
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, I just wanted to say I would always rather spend on a local band than
absolutely.
an international one. But here we don't get a lot of bands coming through, so you
Why
know.
is that?
I think there's a lot of restrictions. And I
Oh,
also
okay.
think that Malaysia is maybe not like as much seen as much of a hub as like Singapore.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe that's why. Hmm.
Interesting. All right. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Mm, okay. I think this is my mom's advice actually. So when I was a
Okay.
teenager and I asked her, "Mom, can you teach me how to sing?" She was like, Singing is something you do. You just have to sing, then you'll learn how to sing. I can't teach you how to
Ah.
sing." And I was like, huh? But then she was right.
Yeah.
She was absolutely right.
That's good
Yeah.
advice. You just find it your own way. Like, yeah, that's great advice. What about if you could go back and see a young Billy in
Mhm.
Japan? What advice would you give her?
Mm, I think I would tell a young Billy that uh,
Or maybe in Singapore.
fear is unproductive. Yeah.
Right?
No
Yeah.
point being afraid of things. Like, just go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Social media is Billy. Where can we find you? And what shows do you have coming up? Are you doing new recordings? Tell us about what's happening.
So you can find me at Billie Azalea. So that's Billie, and then Azalea, like the flower, Azalea. So you can find me on Instagram. I'm most active there. And I do have a show, if you're in Malaysia, I have a show coming up next Friday, actually, at Bartolo Bakehouse. Yeah, it's a really cute venue. They have delicious egg tarts. And that one, I think it's going to be a fun show. So there's that. And in terms of new recordings coming up, I have a song that's already written and I have the vision for it, for how it's going to sound and for even for visuals. So it's just a matter of getting into the studio. So that song should be released by the end of the year.
A
Mhm.
title?
Bluebeard.
Come on, Blue Beard. Interesting. All right. And I'm from Australia. A lot of my followers are from Australia. Any plans to go to Down Under?
You know, I love traveling, so I am always ready. I'm
You've never
always
been?
ready. No, I've never been. I've
Okay.
never been. I would love to go. I think it's just, for me, it's just a matter of like the practical logistics. Like,
Yes.
if I can get some paid shows, that would be great. I don't know a whole lot about like the scene there because I've never been. If I get invited, then I'll start trying to plan something.
There you go. Come on. The summers are just around the corner.
Mhm.
There's a whole bunch of bands that you could do the start up the top or start down in the south and just road trip all the way up.
Yeah,
There's
I love a good road trip, and it's been years since I've gone on a road trip, so I would absolutely love that.
there you go. All right. So we're down to the last bit. You give me first one is obviously music. What, as of today, what are your two or three top favorite artists or bands
Right now.
as of today? As of today.
As of today, okay, as of today, I've been listening to a lot of Wise Blood,
Okay.
uh, then I've been listening to a lot of David Bowie, and
Classic.
if I get into local bands, there's too many. There's just too many, and I would feel like leaving the out. So, yeah, I got to check out the Malaysian scene.
Well,
So many
let's do
bands.
Malay. Give us a one or two off the top of your head from Malaysia.
Um, Off the top of my head, okay, bands I've been listening to like recently who are indie, like indie
Mm,
bands.
yes.
I've been listening to like Pleasantries, they're really good. I've been listening to Hawa and Azim Zain and his Lovely Bones. Yeah, they're really good. Yeah.
That's a cool name. I like that.
Yeah.
I'll have to
And
check
I
them out.
specifically try not to pick my friends' bands because if I do, then that will start like, some war. Why didn't you talk about my band instead of yours? Yeah. I pick people who are not my friends. Yeah.
Give me your top two or three favorite live shows or concerts.
That I've been to.
Yes.
Like, okay. Crosby, Stills and Nash. And
Oh,
that
interesting.
was amazing. Fleet Foxes. Fleet Foxes came to KL. But when we were in Japan this year, one of the shows that we did, the lineup that night, there was this amazing Japanese band called Clover, and they've been around for like I think 2 decades. Three
Okay.
women, very like reminds me of the 60s rock mixed with jazz. I
Come
love their. I
on.
think you can find them on YouTube. Yeah.
Bring that music back. Your first album you ever bought with your own money, and maybe the last album that you downloaded.
This is so out of pocket, but like probably like Pierce the Veil or something. Like some because I had a little hardcore phase.
There you
As
go.
as many of us growing up in Singapore did. Yeah. So I probably Pierce the Veil. And
Okay.
then recent an album. Mm, let me think. Okay, I think the most recent like album I've purchased was also like a Japanese band. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Um, yeah, because nowadays it's on Bandcamp, right? So Bandcamp
Oh,
purchase.
yes. Yes, yes.
Yeah, so there's a band in Japan called Birushana, and I purchased their music. Yeah.
Excellent.
hmm
What about your top two or three favorite movies? And I noticed you said before that you like spooky, so are they horror
hmm Yes. Okay. It's always hard for me to pick top three, but okay, I'm gonna
as of
say
today? As of today.
Suspiria, 19 from the one from the 70s.
Hmm.
And also The Nightmare Before Christmas is always going to be one of my favorite movies of all
Classic.
time. Yes. And I love Studio Ghibli, so I will say Pompoko by Studio Ghibli.
All
Yeah.
right. Good
Mhm.
choice.
Mhm.
What is your top two or three favorite books of all time?
Okay, so it's hard for me to pick like of all time because I feel like at different eras and different phases, I get really sucked into one particular genre or style.
Yes.
But right now I'm reading this book called Kaibyo, the Supernatural Cats of Japan.
Wow.
And I feel like this book was gifted to me by a family friend, and I was like, wow, they know me so well because cats, Japan, supernatural, it's everything that I love. So
There you go.
if you're also someone who's into that kind of stuff, then I would recommend that. And then there's The Things We Lost in the Fire by Mariana Enriquez. So I read that also quite recently, and a lot of the stories stuck with me. They're short stories. It's a
Mm.
compilation of short stories, and some of them are quite dark, but not just dark for the sake of being dark. Like it speaks
Right.
to a certain part of our humanity. And
Yes.
then I would say Dracula and Bram Stoker's Dracula, and adjacent to that is Sheridan Le Fanu's Carmilla, which was considered to be the original vampire story and the
Ah,
first
yeah.
ever lesbian vampire story.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, Bram Stoker was inspired by Carmilla when he wrote
Ah,
Dracula as well.
very
So
very
those two I
interesting.
always kind of think of as a pair. Yeah. hmm
Awesome. Very cool. All right, last one, Billy. Who's your greatest inspiration or hero and why?
Okay, I'm gonna give a very corny answer, and I'm gonna say my
They're never
mom.
corny.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was my mom for sure because to me, and I'm not I'm biased, sure, but I think a lot of people who know her feel this way about her. To me, she's like the most talented person I've ever met, and also the most giving person I've ever met, and somebody who's really completely themselves, and is not, yeah, somebody who's like completely themselves in every way. And I feel like it's hard to be that way sometimes, especially as like a woman and a woman of her age and all. I mean, that made her sound like really old, but I mean, like, being a Gen X like woman, I feel like there's a lot of pressure to be a certain way.
Yes.
And my mom is so talented and resilient. Like she's been through so much, and you can feel that, especially when she sings the blues. And I feel like not everyone can sing the blues. Like it's something that you either have it or you don't. And she really has it. Like I would say anyone who loves music and anyone who also appreciates that kind of music, you have to listen to my mom. She's the OG. Yeah, she's the OG and she's really underrated. And I mean, you can even see from her paintings,
Yes.
she's really very talented. And she's an incredible cook. So
Oh,
it's
there
like,
you
leave room for the rest of us lah to like
go.
be,
Be
to
creative.
like, yeah, But I would say she's my biggest inspiration because of all those things, the talent, the resilience, and just being her kooky little self.
Billy, thanks very much for your time again. Amazing journey, and it sounds like it's only just begun.
Thank you.
Looking forward to hearing some new material, possibly a few international dates. Yeah, China is calling, and
Yes.
also is Australia is calling as well. So,
I'm always ready
uh,
to go.
yeah, keep in touch. Yeah, all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me on and for giving me your time today. I know I talk a lot, but that's just that's just one of my many charms, I suppose.